Hello, hi. Welcome to your favorite Makoti podcast, Makoti Unveiled. I'm your host, the resident Makoti, Siateu. Now, this platform covers all things relating to Omakoti, and today is no different. Today, we have people that are going to be talking to us about something that many people talk about when you mention that you're getting married. It's called premarital counseling. Today, we are joined by guests who will be talking us through it. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. So on my left and your right, I have Mrs. Pelisa Mthembu, who's here with her husband, Pastor Xolani Mthembu, and on the far left we have a relationship expert, Paula Quincy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So, premarital counseling, and we've covered all our bases. This is Makoti Unveiled. We don't mess with anything. We've covered all our bases. We've got a pastoral couple and we've got a relationship expert. Now, let's jump right in. Paula, let's start with you. Does premarital counseling have any kind of value? Like, is it necessary?
Absolutely. I think, regardless of whether you're getting married or not, every couple that's taking their relationship to that next level, whether it's they're moving in together, whether they're getting engaged, whether they're getting married, or they've just committed to be life partners, it absolutely adds value to setting a strong foundation for their relationship and highly recommended.
Oh, wow. She says highly recommended. It's not just nje recommended, but it's highly. So if it was an email, it would have the red flag. Ne? Okay. It would have the red flag if it was an email. Now, Mfundisi, can you and your wife please just take us through it? What do you cover? What topics do you cover in premarital counseling?
In premarital counseling, we cover the topic of knowing each other and also the basis of getting married. And understanding that marriage is a commitment. It's not only love that guarantees marriage, but it's a lifetime commitment where you say, once you say, I'm committed to take this person, the commitment goes a long way than having love.
So somebody. It's not just butterflies.
It's not only butterflies.
Oh, they're so sexy. I mean, love.
No.
It's not that.
No, it's more than that, because now, once you're married, that's a commitment that you make for life, that I'm going to wake up each and every morning with this person for the rest of my life. I can't take this road tomorrow and I say, no, I'm changing.
Mama Mfundisi.
Yes.
We go to premarital counseling. We talk. Then I realize, no, man, hold on. This is not what I signed. What I'm prepared to sign up for. What can we do? Can we change and say, listen, I thought you were ABC, but now that we've gone through counseling, I realize that you're not what I wanted. Can we retreat and say, no, thanks?
In all honesty, it is important that if one of us are not ready to do retreat, because you don't want to get into marriage and already having some red flags and ignoring them for the sake of maybe you don't want to disappoint.
But I've already made the announcement. I've told people I'm getting married. What am I supposed to do? Maybe the invitations are out.
That's why then the premarital counseling also adds value, as Paula says.
Okay.
Because if there are certain elements that you are not sure about, it might be not in full spectrum of your partner, how you view them, that can be dealt with within the pre-counseling sessions. And in such cases, that's why there's no requirement of 3 sessions or 4. We want to do this to prep you up until the time that you are now settled and saying, okay, I'm ready to take this journey. Because as Umfundisi said, it is a lifetime commitment.
I'm going to throw this to the floor. When you go through a premarital counseling and Mama Mfundisi, you're putting it aptly and you're saying, if you feel like this is not it, withdraw. right? Now, I want to find out in your personal relationships. You guys have been married for 11 years now, going on 12 years. And Paula, you're not married, never have been. Can you talk us through how you manage challenges in your own personal relationships? Do you go to counseling? Do you have a pastor that you say, okay, Mfundisi, we've hit a snag here. Now we need the CEO. This is above MD level. What do you guys do? So whoever's ready to answer.
Absolutely. So, I believe that everybody at some point or other has challenges in their lives. And just like athletes have coaches that they work with, there's no harm in you as a couple working through your stuff and working with a professional. So I myself absolutely take myself off to therapy when I need it, or I tap into my support structures when I need it. And it really is about, you don't know your own blind spots. You can't see your own blind spots. And so therefore having someone to help you point out those blind spots is absolutely beneficial to helping you learn more about yourself, first of all, and how you're showing up for your partner in your relationship and co-creating your relationship space, and then how you can be there for your partner and managing those expectations that we have, some which come from our upbringing and our own sort of past experiences. So our primary caregivers, our parents, is our first primary relationship that we're exposed to. And then our own, from a stereotypical point of view, just typical gender roles, what we're expecting from a male, from a female, from a relationship, from a marriage. It's important to unpack those things to make sure that you are on the same page. Otherwise, lots of big red flags are going to be flashing.
And it's not a carnival. It's not a carnival when we see red flags. It's not a party. It's not a...
You have not won the lotto.
Yeah.
And Mfundisi, on your end, and Mama Mfundisi,
No.
do you guys go to counseling, or when you feel like ish?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because as the leaders, there are people that you are leading people while you are led.
Oh.
There are people that are before you that are leading you. It's very, very much important to have that support system that is going to help you to, when we are facing problems, that you can go to in order to get maybe help and also inspiration. I like one point that she mentioned. There were when couple is getting married, they come from different background. And as I'm coming from, maybe I have my own perspective or the way that I look at it when I thinking about marriage. From my upbringing, I would have a person, or else what can I say? Like I will have an own image of my wife when we are looking at your mother at home. Then you have this image that you have, then that you perceive that it is. Whereas then it creates an expectation to you when you meet that person, that now you expect that person to behave like your mother at home. Also, the lady, when they are growing up, they look at their fathers, then they look and they perceive that they are looking for a person that is going to act like their father, or else it's not going to be like that. Then once they get married, they are coming with these perspectives into this marriage, which creates clashes. Then now, because now I'm understanding this, my mother at home used to do like this. A wife need to behave like this, 1, 2, 3. And this lady is not behaving like this way that I'm used to, then it's not
And she's not making your pap the way you like it.
Yes. Also the issue of respect. In our African culture, a person might feel that, no, the woman is not respecting me because I have a perception that my mother was bringing food to my father kneeling down. And when this one is not doing that, then that's a clash. The first 5 years of marriage, it's honeymoon stage. I think they call it like that also in counseling, where you'll start now fighting, you'll start now having all of these things coming through. That's why most of the marriages in the first 5 years, you are seeing a lot of divorces there, because now it's all about personality clashes. But once you pass through that 5 years, then the next 5 years now, the marriage, you start now seeing now those personalities coming together. Now the people, they are becoming tolerant because they've fallen into commitment. It's no longer love. Love is not guaranteed. Then their love is
Are
No,
you
no, no.
hearing this, man? Are you hearing this, Pastor?
Yeah.
Are you, hey? So your spouse is not your parent, Bazalwane. Let's start there. Your spouse is not your parent. They're not going to be like your daddy. They're not going to be like your mommy. They are your spouse.
Yeah.
And you should treat them as such.
Yes.
Now,
like that.
Paula mentioned something where she said that your partner points out some of your blind spots that you did not perhaps notice about yourself. Is that not nitpicking and exploiting your weaknesses? So if let's pretend like me and you are the counselors, Paula, hey, and this is our couple, they are on our couch and they are here, and she is pointing out weaknesses or blind spots that he has. Is she not then nitpicking instead of covering? There are people who tell you, if you notice an issue with your partner, just cover it. That's probably your strength and their weakness, so just cover it.
So it's not what you say, it's how you say it, number one. Number two, we don't know our blind spots. And if I'm doing something that is upsetting my partner and my partner isn't telling me about it, they're not giving me an opportunity to change that. So I'm going to continue frustrating them, hurting them, making them angry, whatever it is. I'm going to continue having that impact on them, as opposed to giving me an opportunity to change and grow and evolve as an individual, but then collectively as a couple as well. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? And we call it a behavior change request in the world of Imago relationship therapy. And it's so how you say it is, when you do this, it makes me feel this, and what I would want or prefer or need next time is this. And often we don't share the impact of that behavior or the emotion that is conjuring up in me, okay? So if I'm not aware of the emotion and what it's conjuring up in me, I don't know the impact I'm having on my partner. So I'm going to keep doing the same thing. And that's where communication, trust, honesty, empathy, compassion, understanding comes into play in terms of how you communicate with each other.
But then, Paula, stop the lorry. Now, your partner has pointed out whatever the issue is. Is it also their responsibility to then teach you? Because now you're saying that you must point out, I don't like it when you do A. It makes me feel B. I would like you to rather do C. Do you have to come here with all the answers? Can you not say, I don't like A, it makes me feel B? It's up to them to figure out what C is. Or do they not know the alphabets?
Well, newsflash, we are not mind readers, right?
Aha.
So if you don't tell your partner how to meet your needs or how to show up or how to be there for you, and I'm talking about realistic expectations, not unrealistic expectations, right? So when you are open and honest and realistic about it, you're growing as an individual, your partner is growing, and together you, as a relationship, you're growing, right? Okay. And it's, are you doing this with malicious intent?
Yeah.
Are you there to nitpick and point out all your faults, and then you're expecting your partner to change, and I'm okay because I'm fine, there's nothing wrong with me, right? I'm perfect. There is no such thing as the perfect person or the perfect relationship. It is how perfect can you be for each other, because you value each other, you respect each other, you appreciate each other, you want to succeed together.
You know what? I think we should start having pens and notebooks when we watch Makoti Unveiled. We should be sitting there like in a lecture room, like taking down all the notes, because we have such beautiful nuggets of truth. Now, Mama Mfundisi, as a woman in a modern woman,
Yes.
you Umfundisi touched on it earlier on, talking about how your spouse is not your parent. How do you then strike that balance? Because that balance of being the modern working woman or the house executive, guys, being at home with children is such hard work.
Yes.
We need to pay house executives. That's what we need to do as a country. But now I digress. I apologize. But now, how do you strike that balance between being this woman that you are, and catering for his needs? And we're asking this in the context that you need to prepare yourself of what marriage is going to be like.
Yes.
So how do you figure that out?
So during pre-counseling sessions, I remember with ours, we had a pastor who took us through the prep before we got married. And what is important to understand also is that marriage is a foundation of God, right? And if two people come together to get married, you are coming together to build, and not just building family, but there is a purpose that is greater than the two of us when we enter into marriage, right? So me being a modern woman and balancing everything at home, I must always remember the purpose that I am called for in this marriage.
Purpose-driven marriages. That's what's up. Now, how is there a length that we should have for premarital counseling? Is it 6 months? Is it a year? Is it 6 sessions? How does it work?
I think I did mention it, Sia, that it depends on the couple that you are counseling. And some, it's 4 sessions, and then you can see they are ready. You have covered all the elements. As we have said, communication, financial, is another key in marriage, right? Because you two people coming together, you are living separate lives, your finances.
She's laughing at our finances.
Your finances were different. Where you were an independent woman and an independent man. Now that we're coming together, we need to talk about how finances within the marriage will be dealt with.
And this is something we talk about before we get married.
Yes.
This is before we see Mfundisi and,
Key.
with this ring, I be
It's
went.
key.
So this before all of that.
Before.
We must know financially how we're going to run things.
Yeah. So back to your question, how long? It depends. Really, if you can see that the couple you're seeing is not ready, then you need to work with them, and not and for us, it's what we advocate for. Don't rush in. Be sure. Like, have a conviction that this
but he's
is it.
cute. He was so cute. And I thought, oh my gosh, I saw his car. I saw his apartment in Sandton.
Oh my God.
And I thought, oh my gosh, I can see myself in the front seat of that car and living in that nice house. Come on, be nice. Let me get married to the guy.
Unfortunately, it's not glitz and glam like that. As I said, there's a purpose. You need to understand you're committing. And if it's all that, because really that is beautiful. I mean, I don't want to get into marriage with someone who's in poverty. No. So those are also important, but the fundamentals are the key. Understanding this is God's institution, so God must be there. Hey, for us to survive, I don't want to lie. It had to be the grace of God. No car, no money, no wallet. It got to a point where the grace needed to intervene.
Wait, so it's not materialistic things. It's not the flashy things. Those things don't count. They don't matter. They're not important. They're nice to have.
Yes.
Nice to have, but they're not the basis of our relationship. Yeah. Now, we've touched on communication, the importance of communication. I think Mama Mfundisi touched a bit on finances. I'd like us to talk about finances. Just go deeper, man of God. Go deeper, man of God, on finances. We'd like to talk about finances a little bit more, but I'd also like to talk about the things that we need to talk about in premarital counseling ahead of getting married. Things like how to raise children, things like sex. we're still going to have an episode about children and sex. Ne?
Okay.
So don't say I didn't warn you, because things are still going to, we are going. We are heading somewhere slowly but surely. Relax. We're cruising on the freeway here, no rush. But I would just like to talk about how it's important to cover those aspects during premarital counseling. Maybe one of the parties is expecting sex every day of the week. The other one is like, I've got a job. I ain't got time for that. So we shall schedule maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays, or maybe I'll pencil you in my diary. We'll see what time works for me. Or even children, how to raise children. Do we spank children? Do we not spank children? Are they going to go to private school? Are they going to go to public school? Those kind of things. And I believe these are topics we should be talking about before we walk down the aisle. Paula, can you just touch on these topics, please, for us?
Absolutely. And this is where it's about managing expectations, right? Because often out of the top 5 things that cause couples to disagree, argue, sometimes even end up getting divorced over, finances is one of them, unmet expectations is the other. So when it comes to our relationships, we transact every day in our relationships, right? Both consciously and subconsciously. And there are 5 different pillars, I call them relationship currencies, that we transact through. So the first pillar is what we call the functional pillar, the doing pillar. It's all those functional things you do that makes your relationship in your home operate, okay? So things like cooking, cleaning, washing, ironing, all the doing things that we have to do, the day-to-day stuff, right? Then there is the emotional pillar, the feelings pillar. How do I feel about my relationship, my partner, myself? Do I feel safe? Do I feel secure, trusted? Is there respect? Is there an emotional connection? Is there intimacy, which is different to sex? They're 2 different things.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? So how does that feel? The third pillar is around the physical pillar, which is the sexual pillar, okay? And it's not just about sex itself. It's everything to do with our sexual wellness and well-being, okay? So how do we be better lovers for each other? As we evolve and grow, our needs shift and change. How do we learn about each other? How do we like it? How don't we like it? What turns us on? What turns us off? All those kind of things. And how do we communicate those things? Because it's often a difficult topic to communicate, just like finances. Then there's the financial pillar, which is everything to do with your financial wellness and well-being. So it's not just about the salary and who's bringing what home. Are we going to have joint bank accounts? Are we going to have separate bank accounts? What's our household budget if we're moving in together? Who's paying for what? Policies, wills, medical aid, future plan savings, everything to do with financial wellness and well-being. And then the 5th pillar is the spiritual pillar. Now, whatever that means for you, it can be religion, faith, tradition, culture, whatever keeps you grounded as an individual, personal growth and development, but then how you grow together as a couple. So for you at an individual level, how are you showing up in every single one of those pillars? How is your partner showing up? And when you overlap it, does it seem fair when you average it out? You will be stronger in some things versus your partner because you are 2 unique individuals coming together and co-creating your relationship space, which is the us, we, ours, right? So you may be stronger in this because that's a strength of yours. Your partner may be stronger in this because that's a strength of theirs. But that's how you complement each other. That's how you grow together. As opposed to what often happens is differences become clashes. And that's what we end up fighting and arguing over.
I told you, you need a pen and paper for this stuff. This is gold. It's okay. Let's shift over to this side. What do you feel are some of the issues, or rather, please just touch on these issues of finances, communication, sex, and all of that we need to discuss before we get married?
Great. So in terms of also raising kids, now in our society, we have blended families. We also need to bring that in, and it's one of the dynamics. If we're not dealing with it in a pre-counseling session, if I've already have a child coming into this marriage, and he has a child coming into this marriage, now we have blended families. It's not only 1, 2, 3, 4. There's mothers. There's a father of this child. There's a mother of. You see, so it's another dynamic that we need to deal with it carefully before we get into the marriage into the journey of marriage, right? I hear Paula, with all the pillars she is pointing out, and you think living this realistically, it's not as guys, it's not as your marriage is work. Let's just say that.
We agree. We all agree.
Marriage is work. A marriage, you must see a greater vision in marriage before you get into it, right? So if we are not sure of these blended families, let me just deal with this one.
Okay.
See. If we're not sure of these blended families, and how are we going to navigate all these nuances that will come up, because they will come up within the relationship, they will come up within the extended relationships, right? With the mothers of abo baby mama, nabo baby daddy. Are we grown enough? Are we grounded enough? Are we simmered enough to understand and to journey through whatever may come our way?
So, Mama Mfundisi, can I interject here, please, Mama? So, there's a baby mama and there's a baby daddy. Then there's you, the
Yes.
couple. Then we haven't gone down the aisle yet. We haven't gotten married. So, you must then discuss before you get married. Is the baby mama going to speak to you and say, I need this and this for the baby? Or are they going to go to X? Or are they, are these the kind of conversations that we're supposed to be having? Who is the stepfather now allowed to discipline this child? If this child does something wrong, is he, he's the stepfather, and he's not living, he's the one that's living with the child at home. So is he allowed to discipline this child? Okay, is the baby daddy say, no man is gonna, discipline my child?
Yeah, so we must deal with those things before we get into marriage. We must agree. How is the disciplining going to happen? We must agree. We must agree. If the baby mama calls, who is the baby mama calling? Is
What
it
time?
calling? What time is the baby mama calling? Because baby mama can call 12 midnight.
To say what? What is she saying at 12 midnight?
Exactly. So, and that's why trust is another thing that we must deal with it. We must enter this marriage trusting each other. Yes, within the marriage, it will be tested. But you must have that conviction that at least I trust him. If he disappoints me, that's another story, right?
See.
But you must.
So
have
you
the
go in
trust.
with full marks.
You must.
And then they get
Then they get. That's
aha. So you don't end the marks when you go into the test.
no.
You come in full marks,
No,
100%.
you must
and then
come-
he messes up -2%, -10%, depending on the crime. Guys, being grown up is hard. Adulting is hard.
Yeah.
And you must strike a balance. Mfundisi, your wife here is she's on fire here. Eh?
Yeah, no,
She's dealing with us properly.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
dealing with us properly. Now, talk to us about this issue, because she's really dealt with the issue of children and how you navigate raising them. Can we also talk about? I really want to talk about sex. Prior to getting married, having the discussion, and I'm not saying let's have sex before. Guys, I'm not saying the pastor and the pastor's wife are saying we must have sex before marriage. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not talking about fornication yet. Don't say Usia said. You can't blame Makoti Unveiled. But we are talking here about the discussion about sex, and really understanding, is it something that is supposed to be pleasurable for both of you? Is it something that the wife is doing to please the husband? Is it something that, what is this sex thing? What is it about? And I suppose it's especially important in your context, in the church setup where the expectation is that these people are coming together and they have not had sex. And so what are they expecting to experience when they get into the marriage setup?
Yeah. When we are talking about the topic of sex, it's very, very much important to understand, or else when we are counseling them about sex, the important thing there to understand is that once you are married, your body is now no longer belonging to you. So now your body is belonging to your partner. And also her partner, and my body is belonging to her, and her body is belonging to me. So
Come through with the scripture, Mfundisi.
I cannot deprive myself. It's on 2 Corinthians.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians chapter 7. I cannot deprive myself and say now, or else I cannot say now, this is my body, I'm keeping myself away from her. So now my body belongs to her, and I am entitled fully on her body. And also she is, her body is kept purely for me, you understand? So it's very much important for people to understand that I cannot now, when I'm going to sleep, I'll wear my short and say, no, today I'm not having anything. I'm not doing sex with a person. I cannot deprive a person without communicating. We need to communicate. As she has said, communication is very, very much important to say, how are we going to do it? When are we going to do sex? Is it 2 times a week? Is it once a week? But we need to have a mutual agreement. In scripture, it says we can only stop maybe to have sex if we are fasting. But others, you find out, they say, no, 21-day fasting without communicating. It's another issue. You'll find a person say, no, because now she is or he is running away from being intimate with the partner.
So
now
you can't
we
be
need
fasting
also,
without communicating with your partner.
Communication is the key of marriage. Once we communicate, if there's something that I feel or she feels that she's not well, she must communicate prior. It must not be a surprise now when we are supposed to do sex. Then you say, no, I'm not fine. I told you.
Suddenly there's a headache now. Wow.
Suddenly there's something, then it's, yeah.
There's no alcohol here to fix the headache.
You see. That's okay.
Oh my goodness. This is for the grown and sexy. This podcast here is thebomb.com. Now, we're going to wrap it up, but I do want to find out that with all of these topics, and you touched on it earlier on, that premarital counseling is a good space to retreat if you realize, but I'm not up to it. Yes. I'm not up to the baby mama drama calls. I'm not up to being emotionally present for this person. I'm not up to that. Once you get to that point, are we able to say, maybe now's not the right time? Maybe we should pause, go back, work on ourselves, and revisit this whole marriage situation? Or is it once you go to premarital counseling and you find that maybe it's not my cup of tea, is that the end of the road, or how does it work?
I think it's important in terms of, if you want to build a solid, strong foundation with your relationship, that openness, honesty, and transparency is key. And if you reach that point where you feel, I'm not sure if this is for me, rather be honest with the person up front. Don't lead them down the garden path and then potentially a year or 2 down the line you go, I'm out of here. Because that's going to cause far more heartache than doing it earlier on in the situation.
Before we get to you, Mfundisi and Mama Mfundisi, Paula, you said there are top 5 reasons why people, I'm done, I'm out. Can you please tell our viewers what those top 5 things are?
So in the work that I've been doing over the years, working with couples, the top key things that come out is finances. It's around unmet expectations. It's around parenting and raising children and different views on that. It's around career aspirations. And then it's around family as well, in terms of on both sides and how much of an influence and a role that they play in your marriage and in your relationship. Those are the top 5 common issues that come up in the work that I do.
Guys, communicate. be honest, be real, and be vulnerable. I think.
Yes.
Don't try
Don't
here and
hide.
be Hulk and hide behind all sorts of things. Just okay. Can you please close it for us, Mfundisi, and just tell us that what we had asked earlier on, that once you realize maybe this is not the time, are you able to go back and fix things, or is this the end of the road for this particular couple?
Yeah, we are able to go back and fix things if ever there are some, because we need to remember that marriage is a journey. Where, like premarital counseling, it's not going to end there. Let's say other couple says, okay, we have heard all of these things, but now we decide to still continue. So now they get married. They will need people that are going to go alongside with them after getting married. So it's post-marriage counseling. There's also that counseling after that, where you go with them. Every time they have somebody that is going to form a support system to that marriage. But also, if a person feels that, no, I'm not ready, let's maybe postpone it, or there are some issues or what. It's not a train smash when it happens prior, because it saves each and every person from before they can enter in or cause a long time hurt that can be there.
I love it.
And one last aspect that I was thinking, in our culture today, when it comes to finances, where the ladies are now, it's one of the topics that normally comes, that you'll find out the lady is in the career, is moving, maybe she's earning higher salary than a guy. Then now, also that is a problem. Once people are getting married, then she would say, no, this one is coming to eat my money. Then it's my money and her money. So once we get married, we don't have his and hers. It's us. We start from there, we talk in that context, that it is us. Whatever we put in that pot is for us. We are building this home together. And most of the time, most of the people, they fight when it comes to finances, because they have not come into using the term us. Even the possessions, it's my car. It's my house. It's my thing. It's no longer it's us. So it's us now. We are building this. Whatever that we have, it's building this corporation that we have made. It's a corporation, a union that we have made. And it's very, very much important that we understand the point that she says, the point of complementing each other. In scripture, he says, I am going to, he says, God, when he was speaking to Adam, he said he's going to give him a partner that is comparable. So they will be complementing, like coffee with tea or with milk on top. So all these products together, they complement each other. They bring a certain element, a suitable helper, yes. They bring that element, that fresh aspect, and like a cherry on top.
Yo, Makoti Unveiled. Makoti Unveiled. Oh man, these guests. Let me tell you, I always say this. The best thing about this podcast is the guests. The guests on this show are always top tier, the cream of the crop. Ladies and gents, thank you so much for joining us and sharing these nuggets of truth. We really appreciate your wisdom. And we'd like to say a special thank you to you for joining us. And we can't wait to see you again next time right here on SNL 24. And until next time, bye-bye, Tandwa.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.